It's so good to finally have proper coffee, my friends. I never thought that it can be just so cool. Oh my god. How did I live without it all this time? I have no idea. But I'm really, really happy to see you tonight. We have a Halloween. I forgot to wear my costume of Prigozhin today, but I think that, no, I don't need one anyways. And today we will talk about a bit of updates coming from Ukraine, around the world, everything related to Ukraine, of course, because I'm a Ukrainian, right? Just a couple minutes ago, Russians attacked Kyiv using their drones. There were several drones reported flying very, very low at a low altitude. Seems that the mobile groups managed to shoot them down. However, one of those drones was reported flying really low over the Kvelev Dam. And just so you could understand, here we have Kyiv, right? The mother of the so-called Russian cities. And here we have this enormous water reservoir on the north. And we have a dam right in this place that Russians are trying to destroy since 2022 already. Several attempts to destroy this dam failed. Several missiles aimed at this dam also were intercepted. And this is actually a really, I would say, really dangerous target, because if this dam is destroyed, then all this area, Podil or Bologna, may get flooded, which is extremely bad. But the air alert ended just a couple of minutes ago, so I suspect that Ukrainian air defense was successful. What else do we know? There were two cases of human safari in Kherson. They were reported today. One of them was reported just a couple of days ago. One case was reported in Kherson specifically. It's when a 27-year-old civilian today was attacked in his own car, which is civilian car. He was attacked by a Russian drone. We know that he was hospitalized with numerous traumas, fractures, as well as burns, but he's alive. In another case that took place in Kindika, which is a town in Antonievsky district of Kherson Oblast, Russian terrorists dropped a charge on a man, and he fell down. He was wounded. The ambulance was called, and guys, these two cases, they were reported by the Kherson administration. So the ambulance arrived, the medics were giving him like first aid and stuff, trying to save the man. And that very moment, while they were doing so, the Russians dropped a charge on the medics, killing one and wounding two other medics. So all of them were hospitalized. With that, I would really like to pass my personal greetings to the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres. I really hope that Russian Chak was really good in Kazan. 3 oil refineries, because we understand that drone warfare, it's a game for 2 players, right? 3 Russian oil refineries in Bashkortostan today were attacked simultaneously. This is insane for a simple reason. The city Ufa, where those refineries were attacked, one of them particularly Bashneft Ufa Neftikhim. City of Ufa, just so you could understand, okay? Here we have Ukraine, right? Here we have Mordor, and all the way here we have the Russian city of Ufa. It says Ufa in Russian, obviously, in Ukrainian for some reason. Anyways, so the distance between Ukraine and Ufa is approximately 1,400 kilometers or 890 miles. Imagine what kind of distance Ukrainian drones had to fly from like Ukrainian border to Ufa to reach those targets. That is something absolutely crazy. But again, Ukrainian drones are the best in the world. Unlike Russia, Ukraine can not only produce drones to cover the needs of the front, but also export drones. And the only thing that Russia is exporting nowadays is basically imbeciles, nothing else. Ukrainian Center for Countering Disinformation reported that the US have sanctioned 400 different individuals and companies operating in India, China, Turkey, and other countries that have helped Russia support its military efforts through the supply of different critical materials and equipment to the Russian terrorists, avoiding sanctions. So it is reported that, in particular, the sanctions targeted, this case is freaking insane. Sanctions targeted Indian pharmaceutical company, right? The company that is supposed to cure people using meds, right? The company that supplied Russia with the US trademarked equipment such as servers for artificial intelligence and learning machines. And machine learning. Holy shit. It's insane. The restrictions also apply to more than 2,000 Chinese companies that have been supplying terrorists with different components, microelectronics for the Russian defense industry, and 2 Swiss lawyers. Seriously. Switzerland, what the hell? 2 lawyers from Switzerland were included in the list of sanctioned people. And why do I sound so quiet? I know why. I know magic. Okay. Boop. All right, this might fix it. So, two lawyers from Switzerland were included in this list, and they were included because they were providing consultations and legal cover to Russians so they could evade restrictions. And this case, this new sanction package, hopefully will serve as a reminder that you should not deal with a terrorist regime whatsoever. The United Kingdom and Germany will provide these beautiful helicopters, Ukrainian helicopters called Sea King, with different modern missiles, according to the official sources of the United Kingdom. So, guys, it is not mentioned which exactly missiles will be utilized, but I think it's either Brimstone with a range of 20 to 40 kilometers, or Marte ER, 100 kilometers range, or Exocet MM40 block, which is 200 kilometers. Another update and another sip of, oh my god, guys, it's amazing. Just so good. It tastes like heaven. It tastes like tears of the Russian widows. I don't care. Degenerate Nibenza. my favorite Russian degenerate, the representative of the terrorist federation in the United Nations. He stated that the North Korean presence in Russia is a disinformation. And this disinformation, my friends, was created by NATO forces to justify their decision to send NATO troops to support Ukraine. One thing I don't really understand after this statement made by my favorite Russian degenerate is I thought that NATO were already fighting in Ukraine since like 2014, which was the reason for the Russia to invade Ukraine. I mean, what about those 50 heroic NATO generals eliminated in Mariupol in 2022? What about the Polish troops fighting in Kursk Oblast today? Weren't they sent to Ukraine already, or all this is just a Russian bullshit that Russia was like copy-pasting in their media since 2014? Let me know, because when we were deployed in Svitlodarsk in like 2017, Russians always called us in the radio communications. They always called us like Polish troops, like Polish mercenary. Like, what the hell? On one hand, of course, we had Polish helmets, but Pol helm is jest kurwa zajebisty helm. But on the other hand, everybody who is wearing like Polish helmets in Ukraine, or wearing Polish helmets in Ukraine since 2014 at least. So that's another thing. And speaking of my favorite, I know that's a different one. Constitutional Court of Moldova recognized the results of the referenda that took place in the country recently, where majority of Moldovan citizens voted for the European vector of development, European integration, which I completely welcome and applaud. Guys, you did the right thing. Like, no, it was not even a question whether people in Moldova should be integrated in Europe or like Asia. I believe that it was out of question. They were supposed to be European nation by default. Anyways, of course, Russian movement called Pobieda, which means a victory in Russia, like Pobieda. Like, when I hear the word Pobieda, I hear, this smell of cheap Russian tobacco that they grow in like their outhouses, and like Russian moonshine. So pro-Russian movement Pobieda in Moldova did all they could possibly do in order to cancel the hearing in the court, and they failed dramatically because the court took place and they recognized the legitimacy of this referenda. Once again, my friends, big respect to you for your decision. Another court will take place in the United States, and this time my favorite American, well, it's not properly to call Elon Musk my favorite imbecile. He's my favorite American oligarch, right? So he was invited to the by the justice to explain why exactly did he think that buying votes was a good idea in the United States. So what happened? Recently, he announced that every day he will be randomly paying $1 million to a registered voter who signed his petition at America Political Action Committee. And this Political Action Committee was created by Elon Musk with the backing of a number of prominent tech businessmen and oligarchs to support Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Now, do you remember what I told you about Ivanishvili in Georgia? It was enormously rich Georgian businessman, Russian asset because he earned majority of his money in Russia. All his business, all his assets were in Russia, right? And basically, Ivanishvili, how was he elected? He bought everybody because he was enormously rich. Georgia is comparably small, and literally he bought trust of his voters by spending money on those voters. He did that shit 10 fucking years ago, while Elon only evolved to, to this amazing decision like in 2024. Because Russia's class in, manipulating votes, buying voters and all that stuff is so out of his reach, like seriously. Elon only evolved to this in 2024, while Russians were doing that for like 20 fucking years. I heard a similar opinion about Russian disinformation in that poll that I posted in the community. Someone said, which was absolutely expected. One dude said, well, Russian propaganda is nothing comparing to what we have here internally in the United States, because we have our media that brainwash our people. I love people who underestimate Russian propaganda. I love them so much. They're so naive. It's as if they were born in this world literally yesterday, or, they lived in this convenient bubble where everything's fine. They are so beautiful and naive, like I don't know, like rabbits, or like hamsters. Oh my God! So I asked, how many American boat farms were exposed, like in the past 10 years? So the dude answered that, like, we don't need boat farms if we have like our television, right? But at the same time, Russians have RT, but still they use plenty of boat farms. They use social design agency to create millions, and Struktura to create millions of fake accounts, and then basically brainwash people and make them distrust their government, distrust media, distrust their neighbors, hate everybody, make them toxic, etc., etc. And they are so successful in fooling Americans, and not only Americans, since like 70s or 80s. I'm serious. That's why, as a Ukrainian who saw all this shit in my country, and all this shit directly brought to the Russian invasion, and by shit I mean Russian disinformation and Russian brainwashing of Ukrainian people, that I so much love people who underestimate Russian propaganda. Oh my God, they are like clay that you can use to build whatever you like. They're like so soft and fluffy. Jesus Christ. Anyways, the main updates. Okay, so 2 Russian terrorists here in Europe are facing charges, which is great. One of them is a Germano-Russian citizen known as Dieter, who fought for the terrorists in the so-called DPR. It's a hybrid Russia-occupied territory of Donbass since 2014. And in 2014, 2016, he fought there literally as an infantry, a terrorist. Later, Russian intelligence recruited Dieter, And since 2023, he and this person connected to the Russian intelligence, they were discussing the ways of conducting sabotage at the objects of German military infrastructure. We know there were already several cases of fires, explosions here and there in Germany at the military objects, in other countries, in Czechia, etc., etc. So today, and by the way, in Paris, another dude was arrested this year for preparing a terrorist attack, again, a Russian individual. He was stationed in a hotel where he was preparing explosives, and apparently because it was a Russian terrorist, something went wrong, and there was an explosion right in the hotel. So he got busted, and today the German court, we're talking about Dieter, okay, now. So today the German court had pressed charges against this Russian-German individual, this Russian-German terrorist. So apparently he will spend several years in jail thinking on how beautiful is his Russian motherland. Another loser, here we have a picture of our suspect, that is from, I believe, 2014, 2016. This here, my friends, you can see a natural habitat of a terrorist. Everything that surrounds him looks exactly like back home in his fucking Ust-Pizdysk shit, horrible conditions. Basically, he feels like home. This is how Russians live generally, you know. They don't need war. This is their everyday's reality. I freaking love it. Okay. Another one. Faced charges also today, only this time in Finland, and this time it was Jan Petroski, a terrorist from the Russian neo-Nazi group called Rubizh. So you probably remember Alexei Melchikov. I talked a lot about him, the dude with the Nazi flag, the dude who was decapitating stray dogs, puppies, etc., etc. He has this terrorist group Rubizh, which is known for being extremely atrocious. So if Russians are atrocious by default because they're crazy, that neo-Nazi group, they openly claim that they're neo-Nazi and like no shit. And for that they are awarded by like Aksionov in Crimea, like Russian authorities. They receive medals for being Nazi and murderers or criminals. And they are also known for being extremely, extremely atrocious. So this year they published an address. They addressed their fellow Russian terrorists from other units, and they asked them to deliver a prisoner of war, preferably non-white, so they could sacrifice him to the pagan gods. It was an official address in the official Telegram channel of this neo-Nazi terrorist group Rubizh. So he was arrested, this Jan Petroski. Here we can see him on the picture, right? And he still wears some kind of pagan whatever, you know, those runes. Anyways, he was arrested in Finland earlier, and he was accused in committing war crimes on the territory of Ukraine. Specifically, he was accused of murdering 22 men and severely wounded 4 men in Ukraine. So this Russian gentleman will apparently also spend several years in prison. I believe it will be a number with several digits, and he will be thinking about Dugin pagan gods. He will have a lot of time to pray to his pagan gods. I have no idea. What do you think, by the way, about the prisons in Finland? Are they good? Because I remember there was this guy, I'm not sure if it was in Finland, I think it was like in Norway or Sweden, the dude who was burning churches and then he went to jail, and then in the jail he was like writing music, I think he still does, with like synthesizer or something. Like metalheads know whom I'm talking about. But it's an interesting case because generally, like, European prisons are good for Russian terrorists specifically. Russians hate prisons because prisons in Russia, like, it's a very, very nasty place. That's why a lot of them prefer to go to Ukraine and die than spend their time in Russian prisons. Also, considering the fact that recently United Nations did something, let's say, good but useless, as they usually do. So they made this report on Russia committing crimes against humanity in their prisons, talking, of course, about Ukrainian prisoners of war. But at the same like, it's good that they did that because it's something that increases publicity, public awareness. But at the same time, of course, we all know that it's absolutely useless because nobody will do anything. It won't provoke any physical reaction from the international society, just like always. So, my dear friends, those were the updates of today, the most recent ones. And anybody remember Starsky's business trips at the beginning of 2022? Oh my God, those business trips were absolutely crazy. Wasn't that Sweden? I think it was Sweden. I don't remember, and I'm too lazy to Google, but I believe that was a Swedish musician. Not sure what was his name. I don't remember. Just Jamie, check ATP Geopolitics live stream from a few hours ago. There's a clip from of the first NK badly injured. Yeah, that is something that I literally missed to talk about today. So you probably saw videos. There are two shocking, I don't know, like, I'm not sure that anything can shock you anymore because, like, we saw everything between 2024 and today. But there's a footage circulating in the social media showing a North Korean soldier with a burned face. Question is that North Korean, or is that like Russian Buryat? So it's hard to say, but only yesterday Ukrainian media reported that the General Staff of Ukraine reported that there was a strike conducted against the North Koreans dislocated somewhere in the Kursk Oblast, and Ukrainian armed forces hit them with artillery already. So I don't really think that it's a coincidence. I think that some of them were already improved, not in Ukraine, currently in the Kursk Oblast, but still I think it's a good update. At the same time, there were rumors. I don't really like to share rumors, but because I spent my whole youth in that freaking glamorous environment of PR people and journalists that literally live, by spreading rumors. So there are rumors, there's opinion, right, that the number of Koreans involved in the Russian war in Ukraine can grow. And in case two things happen, first thing is if international community will provide no reaction whatsoever to involvement of North Koreans in the Russian aggression against Ukraine, and if their involvement will prove successful, then apparently more North Koreans will arrive to Russia, specifically because quite a few of them are already finishing training somewhere in the Far East. So we can potentially expect more of them to arrive to Ukraine. Also, it is expected that North Korea can send their civilians to Russia. What will civilians do? Civilians will be involved in building weapons. They will be involved in different military factories, producing drones, producing shells, producing tanks, etc., etc. Because generally, Martin asks a good question. So generally, Russians are not feeling really good right now. Their economy switches to the wartime economy, and wartime economy, according to Paul Warburg, by the way, he's an extremely cool guy and great analytic. Wartime economy is only good in case you can reach your goal fast, in case you can achieve victory fast, and then you can switch back to the common economy, peacetime economy, The problem is Russia is nowhere close to finishing the war in Ukraine. Nothing will help. Even if they invite a gazillion of North Koreans, it will not help because they only have so much factories able physically to produce just so much equipment, so it doesn't really help them. But it may be a temporary solution. Any idea what weapons South Korea will send? So recently, as far as I remember, they refused to send 155mm shells to Ukraine. I can generally understand South Koreans because they have an enemy just across the border, basically like Ukraine. And it's a good idea to stockpile weapons and stockpile vehicles and other equipment that can be used to defend your own country in case you are South Korean. It's a really important thing currently for them, really important topic. But at the same time, we expect some equipment from them that can be used to not only fight North Koreans, what equipment do you need to fight North Koreans? Basically, it's like small arms and fuckload of artillery shells. Drones too, of course. But also something that will help Ukraine in terms of demining and things like that. Who exactly is going to do anything about the terrorists? How about Putin? Well, I believe there were already several announcements somewhere like in the deep web, searching for a hitman, searching for a brave codename 47 to take care of our little business here, and save the world. So my bro Martin asks, heard about Poland being able to shoot down missiles over Ukraine. Currently, it's only a matter of discussion. Currently, as far as I know, no decision was made. But they were asking the permission from the United States, again, as far as I remember, to be able to be given this permission to shoot down Russian drones and Russian missiles aimed at Western Ukraine. Why it's important? Again, because Western Ukraine is a huge transportation hub for all the equipment, all the weaponry, shells, all the munitions that come to Ukraine. Russians tend to strike Western Ukraine quite often since the very beginning of the Russian invasion, and this area also requires protection. Not as much in terms of men, not as much in terms of manpower, but in terms of air defense. But again, a lot of times they were striking things like residential areas in Lviv, or they were striking different depots for like Nova Poshta or like DHL, the humanitarian aid storages, etc., etc. Is it true that Kim Jong-un doesn't require food trucks because he's a walking food trucks? I believe so. I believe that this dude, like looking at him, you can tell that he basically swallows his enemies. That is why he looks like he looks like. Hello, I missed the news. What happened? So, long story short, 2 Russian terrorists were sued in Europe, in Finland, and Germany for war crimes and preparing terrorist acts. Nebenzia is a fucking asshole, as well as Elon Musk, who was buying votes. And you can literally scroll back to the beginning of the stream. Everything's there. Those are the main updates. Is Putin gonna make a call to Washington on 5th of November? I give you 100% he will. Something tells me that, of course, yeah. Do Russians grow tobacco indoors? I know that they grow tobacco like in their gardens, because generally in village you have a garden where you grow food for yourself. It's a good tradition in the Slavic post-Soviet space, because generally people would only rely on themselves and what they can provide for themselves, right? So they would grow food like potato, tomatoes, and other things, dill, of course. And I remember that back in the Soviet times, people in the villages, not only in Ukraine but also in Russia, they used to grow their own tobacco. That shit could literally kill like insects, like seriously, like they would die. You inhale that shit, and that could kill you, like for real. That is something so bad. I remember my grandpa was smoking that homegrown tobacco. Oh, I was like 5 years old, and it was an interesting habit between people in those times, especially among the villagers. They would take like a newspaper, and newspaper, as we all know, they are printed with those using that paint that contains enormous amount of lead. And basically, in the Soviet Union, people were wiping their asses even after like 1968 or 1969, when the toilet paper was introduced in the Soviet Union for the first time. They were still using newspapers to wipe, And that lead would concentrate in their organisms like crazy, like it was insane. But people, and my grandpa, for example, they would take like pieces of newspaper, and then they would roll cigarettes using that killing tobacco that they were growing in the yard, and then they would smoke it together with all the lead, together with all that shit. Oh, I remember I was sitting next to my grandpa. I was like inhaling that and like flying away. You know, I was like 5 years old. That was tobacco. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it was tobacco, nothing else. But life was hard. Why does the bridge still stand? What is it we don't know? I believe that the best way to destroy that bridge is something bigger than what we have right now, because it must be either hit by a bomb, something equal to like FAB 3000 that Russians use against civilian houses in Ukraine, or it must be hit with something as big as Tomahawk, because our missiles, such as Neptune, for example, they can be used against bridges. But again, guys, I explained it multiple times, even despite the fact that we're talking about Russian bridge. But civilization is pretty good at building bridges. I saw different bridges that were hit by different munitions. Some of them were hit by something as big as Tochka U. That is a big fucking missile, and they were still standing. So it's not necessarily something like a drone carrying, you know, like 30 kilograms, even like 40 kilograms of explosives, or something like ATACMS can necessarily destroy that bridge. It's not the case, my friends. Even if some section of it will be destroyed, it will take Russians no time to replace it. That is why we need something bigger. It must be either aerial bomb, something as huge as FAB 3000, nothing less, or something like Tomahawk. And speaking of Tomahawk, I'm not sure if you heard that recent scandal that happened in the United States, between United States and Ukrainian administration. Mahorka, Garth, yeah, that is exactly how people called that grass of death back in the days. Mahorka. I have no idea why Mahorka, what was the origin of this word even. But that's exactly how they call tobacco. One time my bro, I think he lived in, I think he still lived in Kyiv back in those days, long before the war. One time he told me, bro, a friend of mine sent me a whole package of tobacco from like Netherlands. So I asked him a logical question, like, are you sure it's a tobacco? Like, of course, what else could I ask? And he's like, yeah, that's tobacco. So he gave me that whole pack of tobacco. Literally felt as if I turned into like a drug smuggler. You know, I kept that pack like, you know, like here in my clothes, like I ran home and stuff. And I tried it. It was an interesting experience. Rolling cigarettes was an interesting experience, actually. Undercover pirate. Technically, it's tobacco. Yeah. Could be possible to provide drones to Kherson citizen for tracking other side. I mean, if there's 70,000 person, it would help for sure. To Kherson citizens, it will take effort to teach them how to use them properly, and there's also a reason why military personnel uses military drones. Even surveillance drones, there's a good reason for that. There's a good reason why military have this right to carry weapons and do their military duties. What do the Russians put in there anyway? Some Lovecraftian shit. I've no idea, seriously. I have no idea. Maybe they fertilized that Mahorka with some insane shit that only Russians can do. So that's a good question. Regarding the Tomahawk Scandal, so the other day Zelensky had a press conference and he said that they discussed in that, remember we were talking about the Ukrainian victory plan, and in one of the points there was this secret deterrence package that had to be deployed in Ukraine in order to stop possible Russian invasion if after the war Russians would decide to invade one more time. So they would be instantly owned for doing that. And exactly after the presentation of this victory plan to our American colleagues, the information apparently leaked in the media, and the media published an article where they explained that Ukraine was expecting Tomahawks from the United States. So Zelensky was kind of disappointed with that. He said, okay, we're talking about trust, and Tomahawks were mentioned in that third secret package. So does it mean that there's absolutely no trust between partners? That is according to the president. On the other hand, I think that it is not really the case of lack of trust, because generally Tomahawks are American strategic weapon. They're considered American strategic weaponry, and I don't think that they would easily share them with anybody else. I don't even think that NATO allies of the United States, they have those Tomahawks. Please correct me if I'm wrong. What is Konotop? Konotop is a Ukrainian city, I believe in Poltava region, Poltava Oblast. Konotop has an extremely cool history, because in Konotop there was this battle in the medieval times where Russians wanted to kind of invade Ukraine for like gazillionth time, and they were owned, and they were owned so bad by Ukrainian Cossacks. So even Russian Duke that led that army to Ukraine, he was decapitated by the Ukrainian Cossacks, because you don't fuck with them usually. That's why that battle became a big historical victory of Ukrainian army over Russian armies. Again, they brought a lot of like their manpower, you know, and they were owned in a very, very bad way, in an extremely bad way. So Konotop is like a glorious historical Ukrainian location. Would it help Ukraine if NATO were to place units in Ukraine to defend civilian targets? Yes, my friend, that would be the case, because generally NATO troops don't even have to fight for Ukraine. NATO troops can be dislocated in like airfields or cities anywhere. If there are NATO airplanes parked at the ramps, they would never ever be attacked by Russians. You can trust me on that. Of course, NATO and like with the United Nations, with the peacekeepers, it's absolutely the same. There's only two problems. Russia is vetoing the decision to deploy UN troops in Ukraine, UN peacekeepers, for obvious reasons, because this ugly fuck here is member of United Nations Security Council, and he cannot be removed, unfortunately. That's why all this situation turns United Nations into an absolutely useless organization that literally eats our own money for nothing. And another reason is that NATO troops are not NATO troops, not the soldiers, not the officers, but the top management, right? They're extremely, extremely scared of escalation. They're so much scared of escalation, so they are even scared to shoot down Russian missiles and Russian drones that sometimes fly to like Poland, sometimes to Romania, Bulgaria as well. At the same time, Russians are not scared to escalate at all. They do it effectively every single day. They don't give a slightest damn about NATO. They don't give a damn about red lines, because we only draw red lines for ourselves, because we are so much afraid to do something to fight terrorists, because there are people who leave commentaries under my videos saying that I'm a US citizen and I don't consider Russia an existential threat to the United States. So basically, like those two superpowers that are fighting their whole life since the beginning of time, since Petr I sold Alaska to the United States. But there are still, unfortunately, people that were brainwashed by Russians who were like repeatedly saying, Russia is not your enemy, Russia is good guys, we can be partners with the United States, and they don't consider Russia their existential threat. The funds, the amount of money invested by Russians in their disinformation, in their hybrid informational warfare against the United States is incomparable to what the United States invest in their communication strategies and whatever they speak, like in Russia, for example. They are uncomparable because you cannot compare like micro world, right, to the macro world. There's two different dimensions for a very simple reason, because Russians understand that the best way to destroy American society from within is by delivering them messages that would make them fight and kill each other, like they do everywhere else in the world, in Europe, etc. In Europe, we will see that very, very soon, unfortunately, after the elections in the United States are finished. What was the sentence in Ukrainian you mentioned once, please? I'm coming for you. Idu na vi. Let me... Idu na vi. That means I'm coming for you. I'm coming to own your ass. In old Slavic Ukrainian language. I had a friend back in my days, and he was formerly my best friend. I told you about him. He was extremely interesting person because when he was drunk, he only operated in two modes. One mode was, I love everybody. The other one was like, I kill everybody. And that dude he liked to fight so much that he participated in all kinds of underground fights, underground competitions between different ultras in Ukraine, different like football hooligans, so he participated in underground fights between neutral football hooligans, then far left neutral hooligans, we have those, then far right neutral football hooligans. And they would like win a lot of those competitions. He was literally into fighting so much. He was tall, genetically. I freaking envied him so much because I'm an ectomorph. I have this curse of looking slim, whatever I do. So I can only be a proper human being when I work out like crazy. That dude, he always looked like, like $100 bill. Like he always looked cool and sexy. And I'm like, dude, how the hell do you do that? Like, why do you have that six pack? What do you do? Do you work out? I don't know. Do you have a training program? And he's like, no, I'm just, I just do like 20 push-ups every morning and that's it. That's why I hated him, because there are those lucky bastards out there who have this perfect genetics, which is unfair, which is completely unfair, my friends. And it's bad. On the other hand, I have this blessing of being able to eat everything. I can eat cakes. I have like coffee with 3 spoons of sugar, sometimes 4 if it's a big cup, and I don't give a slightest damn. I can eat whatever I like. But yeah, it takes some effort to look like a human being, because otherwise sometimes I can hide behind a broom. It's surprising what 20 push-ups per day do to you. To him, specifically. To him, because he has those genetics that he inherited from his like grandfather. He showed me a picture of his grandfather once, like the wartime picture. He looked like a freaking Ed Harris when he was young, only with a mustache. I'm like, how the hell can you... What did you do in your life to receive that? I'm a small bro too. Cheers, bro. Cheers. Oh, guys, by the way, I already started compiling a playlist with different music, and I think maybe Friday will be maybe Friday will be a good time, a good opportunity to make you more acquainted with different Ukrainian genres. So I decided to make like a playlist of metal music. I decided not to go really deep and, separate them between like, there will be 2 playlists of metal music actually. But I decided not to separate them in all the styles, like vegan, lounge, grindcore, and whatever. But you're gonna like them, and there will be 2 more. So this Friday, prepare, and I will make a review of those songs together with you, my friends. I remember on the shells we liked to listen to different music, and have fun. Like those videos get demonetized like instantly, but I don't give a single damn about it because it's music, my friends. You gotta share music. What else? Ginger, of course, ginger. Let me see. That's the slogan of the UA Special Forces Idu Novy. Yeah, that's the case. And by the way, Ukrainian Special Forces, they have this interesting symbol of werewolf. And that is not just a werewolf, that is Ukrainian version of werewolf called Vovkulaka, which is kind of like werewolf, but still a bit different. If you want to learn more about Ukrainian folklore creatures, especially the scariest of them, you gotta check out my second channel that is called Vibes Ukraine. And here you can see one of those videos, most terrifying monsters of the Ukrainian folklore. You gotta check it out. Like, I spent some enormously cool time trying to, to compile all those creatures. Actually, the choice was really hard to make because there are just so many of them. I don't know. There are like dog / people, like canine humans. There are Mavkas. There's a lot of them. Check them out. You're gonna like it. Did you listen to Wolf Totem yet? Yes, I did. It was so good. I did. I honestly did. Did you change your schedule for live streams? I'm a bit confused. Generally, it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I couldn't do it yesterday, unfortunately. That's why I'm trying to still shift some. Do you like Radiohead and Muse? Please, more videos about folklore. Sarah, I love Radiohead and Muse. Radiohead, like 2 days ago, seriously, I was showing this live song Fade Out that was performed in Japan, I believe. That is the coolest performance ever. For real. And I was showing it to my lady and she liked it so much. And I feel completely hypnotized when I look at that. Is the Baba Yaga story of Ukrainian origin? I think it's like, if it's a Slavic folklore, then 90% yes, that is of Ukrainian origin. I remember I heard the fairy tales involving another Ukrainian character in the story with Baba Yaga, and that character, that is legitimately Ukrainian character. So I believe that Baba Yaga is also Ukrainian character. I love Ukrainian black metal band Drud. Do you know them? Probably I know them, not personally though, but I think I have even been to their concert back in my days. Will you please ask Budanov if Budanov wants to join Gigolos and be in the calendar? Oh my god, that will be really hard because Budanov is a general. I'm a captain. I don't think I'm even, I will allow myself to even ask him about this. However, that would be extremely cool if he agreed. We would love to watch your compilation of Ukrainian mythical creatures part 2. I will do that after after my next video about the Tripilia is finished. And Tripilia, my friends, that is something so enormously cool. So, there was a culture of people that lived on the territory between Romania and southwestern Ukraine, like between 5,000 and 3,000 years ago. One thing that makes them special is that they were building houses out of clay, like two-story buildings. And if it doesn't sound like very much exciting to you, they were building settlements that would contain like thousands of buildings, like streets with like, you know, tens and hundreds of houses. So how did we discover that? Our German colleagues, historians, again, before the full-scale Russian invasion, they provided Ukraine with a radar. They kind of borrowed us a radar that we could use in order to see what's underground, because it sends like sound pulses, and you can see what happens under the ground, which is extremely cool thing, because you can see things like where the soil was artificially moved, you know, like 2-3 meters under the ground. And what they did was, our historians discovered settlements that were enormously big, and they date back like 3,000 years ago. That is so insanely cool. And this civilization, we call them Tripilians. Romanians call them blah blah blah. I forgot how they call them. I will tell you in that documentary. That is insane. But the biggest mystery surrounding this Tripilian culture is that all the settlements, all the houses, all the remains of the houses that were found were burned. So they were burning their houses and moving away for the reasons nobody can explain. There were several explanations to this, but nobody can tell you for sure. Cucuteni, so this culture is called Cucuteni Tripilia, officially. Cucuteni in Romania and Tripilia in Ukraine. Why exactly were they burning their houses? Nobody knows. Where did they go? Nobody can really explain. And this Tripilian culture, it is believed to be one of the founding cultures that emerged on the territory of Ukraine, like back in those days. But at the same time, there's so many mysteries behind them. And those enormous settlements, they were not technically cities yet, but because like first cities that we can call cities, they come from like Persia, you know, like Iran, like that part of the world, Iraq. They date back like 5,000 years. These settlements discovered in Ukraine, they are not technically cities, but still they are impressively big. They're huge. As for like, you know, 3,000 years before Christ, they are just enormously big. So that is, again, another mystery. And I will talk about it in my next video that you will be able to see on my second channel. Also, guys, if you have any requests what to talk about, because I have different ideas. I can talk about gang wars of the 90s, mafia in like post-Soviet space in Ukraine as well, in Donbass. Those were crazy times. mafia would kill like families, you know. The gang wars were nasty, and I think that Rick the Ukrainian can also tell a lot about them. Then there's one of the requests was to talk about Ukrainian like secret orders, you know, like Masons and stuff, and we do have them as well, by the way. But we also have other different secret organizations. One of them, by the way, is called the Order of Saint Andrew. So it was an order that operated in Ukraine back in like 80s, 90s. And I heard a crazy story about them, but I need to confirm it if it happened for real, okay? That is why I don't... I will tell you this story, but it will be included in the video in details only after I confirm the facts. Because fact-checking, my friends, fact-checking, it's essential. So there was this Order of Saint Andrews, like Knight Templars, only in Ukraine. And 90s in Ukraine, we have gang wars, we have mafia, we have all kinds of folks from like Russia, Russian mafia, Russian bandits. Then we have other bandits. We have like bandits from Azerbaijan, we have bandits from Chechnya, we have bandits from Georgia. Georgian bandits were very, very nasty back in the 90s. And Ukrainian security service back in those days, I believe they were still called KGB, because it's like very early 90s, like just after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Ukrainian law enforcement was kind of shocked with all the things happening to the Soviet Union, to their own services and stuff. So they were not really effective against the mafia. And that Order of Saint Andrews, that is cooler than, you know, all those movies about like Avengers and shit. I tell you this. What they did, they were conducting surveillance after the mafia, not only Ukrainian mafia, but also other mafiosi. And I believe, what was that? Was that Azerbaijani or Chechen mafia? I cannot tell you. I think it was Azerbaijani, but again, not 100%. It's a myth, okay? So far, it's a myth. Don't consider this like a 100% true story, please, because I need to confirm. So what they did, they were following those people, those gangs, learning what they do, where were their like secret, you know, hideouts, etc., etc. And they tried to deliver this information to our law enforcement. Law enforcement basically did nothing. Again, back in those days, like cops were bribed, everybody were bribed, like hungry 90s. What they did, they had a rendezvous with those mafiosi in a forest somewhere. And when the bosses of that mafia, that specific gang that they were following, where they arrived to the forest on their cars, they used like, again, I'm not sure if it was like slingshots or like actual weapons, but they ambushed them in a forest on their way to the rendezvous point. They ambushed them, and somehow happened so like those mafiosi disappeared. And then when it was noticed that the mafia disappeared from like streets of Kiev. Like what the hell happened? They brought like the whole pack of the documents, the surveillance data, with all the contacts, with everything they discovered about them, to the law enforcement, and said, guys, like, take this, learn it, see you later, goodbye. So that was a story I've heard in like early 2000s. I need to confirm, did it happen for real or not? But that was a secret underground order of St. Andrews. That is something that I know. One of the urban myths of Kiev. Our Swedish gangs have not exported crime that much to Ukraine. They have to most others a lot, but we're somewhat innocent with gang crime export to Ukraine. Yeah, however, I had a relative in Sweden, and he also told me several cool stories about the Swedish mafia. It was really interesting, like back in those days, like late 90s, early 2000s. Is there a representative in Ukraine who keep track of crime against ecology, water reserve pollution, and so on? So generally Ukrainian authorities collect the data, they pass it on to the United Nations. Also, one of the, I would say widely known ecology activists who were investigating, for example, the crime committed by Russians in Kakhovka. We're talking about the destruction of Kakhovka Dam. That is famous Greta Thunberg, by the way. I believe that she was included into this commission for investigating that crime. Do they run the sex tunnels, the Order of St. Andrews? Could be, because like it's really hard to find the Order of Sex Andrews. Order of Sex Andrews. That sounds like a good name for a metal band. Order of Sex Andrews. Oh my god. Really hard to find both the St. Andrews and the sex tunnels. But apparently we know where they're hiding now. Order of the Sex Andrews. Holy shit, that is a kick-ass name. Would be cool to do a face-to-face video stream with General Ben Hodges. Have you seen him in Germany yet? I haven't seen him in Germany. I know that he's extremely busy until tomorrow. And there is a slight possibility that this might really happen, what you're saying in the commentary. No details so far, okay? St. Andrews sex tunnels. Freudian slip. 100%. 100%, my friend. Freud knows shit. Ben needs to get on the YouTubes. James, he does, and he does often. There's a lot of interviews with Ben Hodges every single week, I believe. And he's extremely busy. So it's really hard to combine YouTube and your professional life unless this is something you do professionally. I made borscht today with Swedish meatballs. Is that blasphemy? It's absolutely not a blasphemy, my friend. It's called Swedish borscht. And it's allowed. As a Ukrainian, I completely approve that. Plus, I tried Swedish meatballs and they are kick-ass. So I completely agree. I completely approve that. Congratulations. I hope that you will share this experience with our audience sometime. I would really like to see that. What is blasphemy is, for example, when you put ketchup on pizza. That is something I will never understand. People getting too inspired by Starsky's new intro. I love it. I seriously do. I love it myself. Have we gotta call you operator sexy now? That would be a good idea if it was true. Holy Swedish porch ball. Oh my god. Today I was invited by my good friend Mirko because tonight we have a Halloween night, and my friend Mirko here from Germany invited us to try pumpkin soup. Unfortunately, because I have so much work right now, unfortunately I had to cancel it. Mirko, bro, I'm really, really sorry. Next time pizza is on me. We agreed. But why were we talking about the soup? Why were we talking about the soup? I forgot why we were talking about the soup. Anyways, I will remember later. That's one of the downsides of like being older. Ben Hodges was in Silicon Curtain. He was, and Jonathan has this talent of getting in touch with good people. Entering the food phase of the stream. Yes, my friend. Yes, we are. Are you calling tomato sauce ketchup? No, Tim, I'm calling ketchup because I mentioned that my lady said that, so she always adds ketchup on pizza because she likes it. And I always look like, a vampire rinsed with the holy water when she does that, because adding ketchup on a pizza, it's a true blasphemy. I've been to Italy. That's why I carry this, spirit of Italian pizza in my soul and in my heart. It hurts me to see that. But she told me that one time, some of her friends from Italy were invited to Iran, and this Italian man tried Iranian pizza, and he said that it's better than in Italy. So I'm not sure how to try, because obviously I cannot go to Iran unless I want to end up like that, like this dude, right? But I need somebody to check it out for me. Swedish meatballs and borscht together. Yeah. I approve that. Pumpkin soup is delicious. I know. I will try it sometime. Even though I am not a big fan of pumpkin, but I will definitely try it next time. Why did I mention the soup? I have no idea. How do you celebrate Halloween, by the way? Because this is my first Halloween outside Ukraine, and generally we don't really celebrate Halloween in Ukraine on an official level. I mean, not officially, because it's a cool holiday, Ukrainian youth celebrates Halloween like crazy. They go out, wearing all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's not official holiday in Ukraine, just like Day of Saint Patrick. Ukrainians celebrate the Day of Saint Patrick because Ukrainians like to drink. Everybody does. But it's not an official holiday in Ukraine. Good pasta recipe. Cook pasta and melted butter and chili cocktail sauce and Worcestershire sauce and grated cheese. Yeah, I always cook pasta with cheese. And by the way, I only add cheese to pizza. That is the proper way to eat pizza. You need to add as much cheese as you can only allow, as much as you can afford. We drink cheap beer. That's what we do in Ukraine all the time. Horror costume parties. Horror costume parties. Sounds like my everyday in the army. Seriously. Chili, is it soup or stew or something else? It depends. Chili con carne is basically like a soup with meat, and it contains a lot of beans. It is like red, supposedly hot. Then we have like chili sauce, the chili peppers that burn you like they burn through your body. Oh my god. We had this incredibly cool restaurant in Kyiv, my favorite one. It closed, unfortunately, but back in the days when I just finished university and started working, I visited that restaurant so many times, so I even received like a card for a discount. And they were offering like Mexican burritos, Mexican food in general, beef ribs with meat, with honey sauce, which was something so unusual. It's like hot and sweet at the same time, and I never tried that before. It was really cool. And then there was this cocktail called Babcia Conchita or Grandma Conchita. I told you about it. It was like tomato juice with all kinds of spice, and it was enormously hot. And my friend called it a rocket fuel, because you drink it and then you have like flames that literally burn through your pants. So it was so awesome. I love that shit. In Michigan, chili comes with or without beans. Some people add potatoes. Potatoes with chili actually may work. Generally, potato works with everything, literally. It works with, I don't know, can you add potatoes to like cake? Easily, why not? Halloween in Germany. I have so much sweets left. Not even one kid came by. Nadine, first of all, hello. So cool to see you here. And second of all, I think nowadays it doesn't work like that. I think nowadays you should attract kids with like vape or something like that. I gave up on Halloween. 1 year we weren't prepared for it, and dozens of kids came the next year. We bought so many sweets and nobody came at all. Oh my god. That's a tragedy, actually. That's so bad. Texas chili separates the chili from the beans. You might get two balls. Ah, I wonder why. I think it's... Correct me if I'm... But at the same time, it's Texas. Probably you know something. Probably you know a secret. Chili con carne is a common filling for baked potatoes here. Have you seen this t-shirt, Juha? Suomi, Finland, protecting Sweden from Russia since 1917. Yeah, sounds cool. Potatoes can be created to work with everything, just like herring, except herring is going bad in the Baltic Sea. The other day I saw that picture of guys catching the herring king. I need to show this to you guys. I was so much impressed. Herring king. No, it's not here. He is freaking huge. Herring king. Guys in Australia caught one. So if you want to know how this stuff looks like, I will just show you a picture. This one is crazy. Okay, how do I... Come on, open. This stuff is crazy, my friends. Share. Okay, check this out. That, my friends, is a herring king. King of herrings. How do you like that? So, generally, it's considered that this fish populates like deep sea, right? They live in the deep. But sometimes when there's some apocalypse approaching or some earthquakes or something, they tend to surface. And recently, it's not the picture that I saw. I saw a picture with Australians. They caught one. That bastard is huge. I think it's called an overfish, but it's also called like king of herring. Oh my god. It's enormous. But generally, I think that it makes good sushi. How do you like that? With raw onions preferably. Absolutely. Raw onions and like sunflower oil. That is perfect. That's not a herring. Technically, it's not. This is how it's called. Don't give a German any potatoes. We know at least 1,000 recipes for potatoes. My girlfriend almost drove me crazy with all her potato recipes. We know a lot in Ukraine as well, by the way. One of the coolest, and we talked about it with Max from the Berkeley Borscht Club, it's when you take a potato and you cut it in halves, and then you take a piece of salo, which is Ukrainian lard, and you stick it inside between the halves, wrap it in the foil, drop it in the fire, and after a while you have this perfect dish. And it smells so good. I hope they don't make surströmming of it. Oh my god. Oh, that would kill everything alive in like the range of, in the radius of 2 kilometers at least. Surströmming is bad. Like, it smells bad. It smells like, how to compare it? Like sewer. If you did you ever clean, like pipes in your kitchen? When there's all that gunk sticks to the pipes and you clean all that stuff. That is exactly how surströmming smells, literally. There's nothing like attractive about this smell. I remember we were there with all the guys and Angelika Bayer, and she stood like 17 meters, I counted, 17 meters away from our group, smoking, and she said, "I'm not coming closer." No. It's bad. Tastes like salty fish with gas. Salty fish with gas. Something like that. But again, I think we missed something, because my friends told me that generally it's not like you open a can and just, eat or drink everything. I think the proper way to consume surströmming is to consume it together with something like potato, bread, things like that, and take like just a small amount of it, because that is bad. It can kill. It really can kill. How's the alcohol-free beer in Ukraine? Well, I think I told you already. I don't remember that we have any. Probably we kind of do. I never really tried alcohol-free beer in Ukraine, even though it doesn't suck. But generally, Ukrainian beer is just a beer, nothing special. Back in the days, I used to buy things like Stella Artois in Ukraine, because even though we have different beers produced in Ukraine, one of them, though, is really good. We call it steam beer. And it's a beer produced, it's like a craft beer produced in a small brewery in Podil, in the historical area of Kyiv. And it is produced using steam technologies, like all technologies of those old days. I tried it, and I remember that beer because I worked in the communication agency that were doing PR for them. And of course, we were like sponsored by them every single day. I could drink that beer like every day. And that one wasn't bad. Comparing to others, it had that interesting taste. But Stella Artois was my favorite beer back in the days in Ukraine. And generally in Ukraine, you want to try something new, you want to try something some imported. I tried Guinness, didn't understand it. I'm sorry, my dear friends, but I didn't feel it. Okay, didn't feel the hype. I tried Kilkenny, was good. Yeah, indeed. I tried several types of beer that I can easily buy in Germany. And I checked in Ukraine, the German beer, like the easiest German beer that you can buy, like Kronbacher, for example, costs 2 times more expensive in Ukraine. Even though in Ukraine we have extremely cheap prices for everything. But for example, Kronbacher costs like 2 times more, which was surprising. But on the other hand, like customs, etc., I think that's the reason. But Kronbacher is so good. Do you have cider in Ukraine? We do, but again, we do have this stuff, but in Ukraine you tend to try something imported. Like, for example, how was it called? Like, the most popular cider in Ukraine. I forgot. It was a long time ago. But cider was really good. At one time, I switched to like drinking cider because it's light, it's like soft, and you can drink a lot of it. Basically, drink it like an apple juice, but like slightly gassed with gas. Kilkenny is handful, but Finnish people eat black rice stuff regularly, so fits well for our palate. Kilkenny is really nice. I tried it. Guinness, again, I tried it. I didn't really understand the hype. Maybe like dark beer is not my stuff, but I prefer to drink beer, not like drink and eat it at the same time. Probably it was also a bit too strong. I don't know. But again, here I switched to non-alcoholic beer. I love it so much. And the coolest thing about it is that when you drink alcoholic beer, for example, if you leave it overnight, somewhere on the table. In the morning, it tastes kind of meh, right? It's like meh. Non-alcoholic beer tastes so good. I don't know, maybe it's just the magic of German beer, but German Krambacher in the morning tastes as good as it was like yesterday. Guinness, not as good as Murphy's, not as good as Beamish. I didn't try the latter one. I think I tried Murphy's. I might be wrong. Aussie beer tastes like Brumby piss. It's because you have to consume Aussie beer with Vegemite. That's heavy. Yeah, I think that's the reason. I think, beer must be something like, something light, something, whatever. Not like I'm trying to insult the feelings of my Irish friends, but that's something that I'm accustomed to. Many comments don't get past censors. Can you relax the settings somehow? My friend, I cannot, because unfortunately, regardless if it's chat or like commentaries, the moderation of commentaries is insane, is crazy. I have no idea why, but and whether it only works on channels like mine, but it removes my own commentaries all the time. And you can say something like extremely normal, but it still gets removed. I have no idea how to fight it. Seriously, I don't know what to say here. We used to get champagne from Crimea, and that champagne was really good, as long as I remember myself. But I think they don't produce it anymore. And the reason for that is because I think Kadyrovites occupied those wineries where they were growing grapes, and they like either fucked them up or something like that. So we will not see it anymore, unfortunately. Strongbow is insider. It's mostly Malik Isid, Somerset. Somersby was the most popular cider in Ukraine. Somersby. That was the name. I think it was produced. Was it produced in Ukraine? I have no idea, but it was like most popular one. And it was fine, especially when it's cold and you just want to relax and chat with your friends. Oh my God. Do you have pear cider in Ukraine? I saw it. I did. I saw it, and I think I even tried it. But again, it was 2018 maybe. Getting late, so I get to nom 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 on all the leftover trick or treat candies. Have a nice one, my friends. Who the fuck is bagging Aussie beer? No idea. Literally no idea. Come to Czech Republic, we got beer here. I am aware of that, my friend. I really am. And next time I'm there, I will definitely have a lot of beer. If you have good non-alcoholic beer, that is even better. Guinness and Murphy's depends on where you drink it. Beamish, I'll always throw away. It's bad everywhere. But generally, Guinness, is it produced in like Dublin or not? because, I don't know, probably it doesn't really matter where you drink it if it's produced in one place. Belgium has most different beers in the world. Oh, I've been to Antwerp. And in the Antwerp, I said, I need raw fish or I will freaking die right here. And we started searching for like a place to buy sushi, and we found one. And in the comments on the Google Maps, it was said that it's like the coolest place you can find sushi. And we went there, and I realized that it's basically like my place, because there were all hipsters around, you know, like all hipsters from the Antwerp. And we were offered some sushi, like I ordered sushi and I ordered a beer. I think it was called Crystal. I even made a picture because the taste is just so good. And sushi were a failure. I don't know, maybe because it was my own problem. But I got used to like fresh sushi, right? Like fresh fish. Preferably if this fish swam only like this morning, that is perfect. They brought me sushi, and the guy is like, this is the coolest aged sushi that we have. We aged this salmon for like 2 weeks. I'm like, what the hell is that? So apparently there's this like a trend of eating aged sushi. Something after my experience with surströmming, I nearly felt like crying actually. But I tried, it wasn't bad actually. But the beer, Crystal, oh, it was amazing. I realized that I never tried anything better than that. Seriously, my whole life. So I agree, in Belgium, that is something so cool. Are there any water on Crimea to plant grapes? Seawater is not really good for that, right? But the Germans have nice non-alcohol beer, much recommended. Carlsberg is terrible. I agree. Carlsberg is not something I enjoy. I tried Carlsberg in Ukraine back in those days. No, not a fan. But like König Pilsner, that is fucking A. That is 5 out of 5. Starsky, would you do porn? Go check out my account at OnlyFans. Premium users only. I think it's Danish cider. Mick, I don't really know the difference. I think I gotta try the Danish one sometimes after the victory, when I'm allowed to drink alcohol. Us South Aussies know all about wine. I don't know shit about wine. I don't know the difference between like semi-sweet and semi-dry. I only know that they have different colors. However, Georgian beer, Georgian wine is extremely cool. It's tasty, as far as I remember myself. Is there any good wine from Ukraine? In Kobleva, we had some good wine, like Odessa region, that places you can find some good wine there. Also, like West Ukraine. In West Ukraine, we have beer that is, we have wine that is. I'm talking about beer all the time. That is not that bad, actually. But generally in Ukraine, we tend to buy a lot of Georgian wine because Georgians, they know how to do that shit. They have experience. Georgians are as famous for their wine as Ukrainians are famous for like sunflower fertilizer. It ain't the same out of Ireland, it doesn't travel well. Ah, so that's the thing. Basically, yeah, like if you drink fresh beer, it's one thing. When you drink like import that spent 3 months on board of a ship, yeah, that might be the difference. Oh, bro, hello. It's so cool to see you here. We are having a nice stream. We're talking about beer, we're talking about wine, food as usual. It's the food section of our stream tonight. How are you? I hope everything's fine. We also have some really nice cognac, like Tisa. That one is good. I remember back in the days, yeah, I enjoyed it. Aged sushi. I don't know the details, but generally it's not like fresh salmon, for example, right? Like fresh nigiri with salmon, but nigiri with salmon that was aged for like a couple of weeks tastes like aged salmon. I don't know how to explain it. Tastes like armpits, something like that. I cannot say that makes me like vomit, but at the same time, I cannot say that it's as good as fresh sushi. I have no idea. That surstrumming nearly killed us. That's for sure, bro. Especially Johnny FD. Oh my god, I remember. I was so sad looking at Johnny FD running around, screaming and cursing everybody. That was so funny. Oh my god. Arthur, as a true Nordling, right? True Nord, had the biggest portion and he did it heroically. I was impressed. I was just stunned with his courage. Like dried fish. I cannot call it like dried fish. Dried fish is cool. And you reminded me of this really funny story. I had a relative, well, like relative. He wasn't my blood relative, but he married one of my cousins, and he was Lebanese. Extremely intelligent man. I loved this dude, but he couldn't understand Ukrainian habit of like chewing the dried fish. And we loved dried fish so much. I love dried fish myself. I remember back in the days, I ordered fish from my friends, and it was so good, so I literally broke my tooth. And back in those days, I was like a teenager, and we're sitting there on the kitchen with my cousin, and we're like cleaning the dried fish and like enjoying it, like 100% enjoying it. And it's so good. It goes well with beer. It goes well with kvass. It goes well with anything at all. And then he comes to the kitchen and he looks at us and he's like, "Oh my God, Andrei, why are you doing this?" Like, because it's cool. He's like, "No, this is the fish from a museum." And we were laughing so bad. The fish from a museum basically does look like one. I mean, like an ichthyosaurus or something. I don't know. Whenever they show like those fossils, like fossilized ichthyosaurus and stuff like that on the TV, I feel like biting one. Like, seriously. I hate fish that tastes like fish. Yeah. Fish is good. I tell you this, fish is really good if you want to gain proper mass, if you want to gain clean mass, like you need proteins, you need omega-3, eat fish, eat something like salmon. That will you will just benefit from that, trust me. Fish is extremely important if you want to have good skin, uh, proper, proper nutrition, proper nutrients. Fish is good. And frankly speaking, when I had COVID for the first time, and then my sense of smell disappeared, and then it returned absolutely distorted. So even today, when I sniff myself, I smell like a different person, like a stranger, which is crazy. It's like after a workout, generally when you have a workout and you're all wet and your clothes are wet, to you it's not really even that bad because this is your smell, right? This is like your pheromones, etc. To me it's really bad because it's as if I'm wearing somebody else's clothes after a workout. It's crazy. But I couldn't eat like 90% of stuff I used to eat, but one thing I could eat was literally fish. So I would eat fish every single day. And again, it sucks because even though fish is really good for your body, but you cannot eat fish like every day. So it was such a quest, what to have on lunch today. My God. Tell me if you had COVID, by the way. If your sense of smell is as bad as mine, because we have Brandon here. Oh my God. Celebrities visiting our stream today. Happy Halloween, my friend. I hope you're doing fine. I hope our business plan works regarding the Jiggle group, the Jiggle Squad Unicorn. That's how we want to call it. I do have a few favorite dishes, but in general, I eat almost everything and try things I don't know. Have you ever tried natto? I didn't try that. I have a different approach. Usually, I eat something that I know tastes well because I don't want to be disappointed. Therefore, when I'm extremely hungry, I tend to buy whatever I know that tastes well, okay? So I won't be disappointed. Masa says, hello, please pass my kiss to Masa directly to her nose. She's already a legend on this channel, by the way. KFC and Gigolos. I had a friend who wanted to make a tattoo of either McDonald's or KFC. Because why not? I experienced the same as you, but it went away after 3 months. It's different for all the people. 2021 and 22, I had it. Like 2 times. That is crazy. I had COVID twice, but my sense of smell and taste never left. It works differently for different people. You know, there is a community in Telegram where there's like 35, 40,000 people who share their experience after COVID. And there's a lot of similar symptoms because to majority of people, things smell like being burned. That is my case. Smell of sewer, again, my case, something I experienced. And then smell hallucinations. It's when you're sitting there doing something, right? And then all of a sudden you feel like concentrated smell of things that don't belong in that place. I had that several times, and I think it's my case, but there's no solution to this at all. Sometimes sense of smell returns back to people. Sometimes it like returns and goes away and returns, and so I have no idea. But one thing the doctors say is that basically it's not the damage done to your receptors, it's the damage in your brain. So basically it's impossible to fix. Or there's like a very, very tiny chance that it's possible. Smell hallucinations are memory related. Could be. I remember that my smell hallucinations disappeared completely the second day after the Hostomel battle. Literally, I ate chicken that I couldn't eat before that because it smelled like dead cats, and I ate onions that would literally otherwise kill me. But 2 days after the Hostomel battle, I was eating that and I was happy. I'm like, guys, look what I'm doing. Look, I'm eating chicken and onions, and everybody were like, so what? But that was the case. But then it kind of changed again. Onions I can consume. Chicken, no idea. It's just so bad. The only chicken I can consume is that extremely hot chicken in KFC. Nothing else works. Everything else stinks like a freaking Russian in like Hostomel somewhere. It wasn't me, so sorry. I'm falling asleep. Have a nice time there, and we'll see you later. And by the way, my dear friends, I think it's also a good opportunity to say thank you for watching, because 2 hours, that is a lot. Okay, I will go have another coffee. My dear friends, thank you for watching. Brandon, thanks for visiting. And thanks for supporting Ukraine. Guys, you are fantastic. We'll see you next time. Tomorrow we will have a Friday night stream. I really hope that I'll be able to invite our moderators as well. We will see, because there's different health issues. I don't want to traumatize them. We'll also see if it's possible to invite my bro. If not, then other time. But thank you so much for watching, and be safe. Have a nice Halloween.